Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're embarking on a pretty big journey. We're going to try and understand the foundations of, well, how we think.
Yeah, a real whirlwind tour through Western philosophy.
Exactly. And our guide for this is the Philosophy Second Edition Quick Study Academic Guide. It's pretty comprehensive.
Think of it as your fast track, really.
Mm,
A way to grasp centuries of these, like, groundbreaking ideas from ancient Greece right up to now.
right.
And our mission, you could say, is to pull out the key moments, the thinkers who really shifted things.
See how the core ideas changed.
Exactly, how they evolved and, still shape how we make sense of everything today. We want those aha moments.
Without getting totally bogged down.
Right. Keep it moving, connect the dots.
And what I like about the source is it really shows philosophy as a process, doesn't
Oh,
it?
totally. Not just names and dates.
It's how philosophers talk to each other across time,
Yeah.
how they interpret things, build arguments, challenge what came before.
Uh-huh. You see the evolution of these big questions, the cosmos, knowledge, ethics, what reality even is.
Okay, let's dive in. Where do we start?
Let's begin at, well, the very beginning. The Pre-Socratics. We're talking 6th, 5th centuries BCE.
Okay.
And what's fascinating here is philosophy itself was just sort of emerging as its own thing.
Right, not just stories and myths.
Precisely. They were taking this really radical step, moving away from the old mythological explanations for why things happen.
Like why there's a storm or...
Yeah. Instead, they started looking for independent, rational reasons for the world around them.
So, like an Anaximander, around 610 BCE.
Good example. He had this idea of the apeiron.
The boundless, right?
Yeah, this infinite, sort of undefined source for everything. Instead of blaming Poseidon for a storm, he's thinking about this fundamental, unlimited stuff.
That's a huge conceptual leap, isn't it, towards abstract thought?
It really is. And then you've got Thales of Miletus, roughly contemporary.
Famous for saying everything's water.
That's the one. But also, think about this. He reportedly predicted a solar eclipse.
Based on Babylonian knowledge, I think.
Probably influenced, yes. And he supposedly predicted a good olive harvest, too.
So not just abstract ideas, but observation method.
Exactly. It shows this early reliance on evidence, moving away from just myth.
Okay. And this mix of evidence and, I guess, cosmic thinking, that brings us to Pythagoras, around 570 BCE.
Yeah, Pythagoras. Though, the details are a bit hazy, debated.
But the Pythagoreans big on maths.
Deeply into mathematics, yes. And also these strict moral rules for how to live.
It's that blend, isn't it? Rigorous math, but applied to this idea of a harmonious universe.
Right, the guide mentions the musical harmony of cosmic bodies, like the planets make music based on their proportions.
Wow.
And it's interesting, some accounts suggest a priestess, the Themistoclea, might have actually taught Pythagoras some of his moral ideas.
Adds another layer. Okay, who's next? Heraclitus.
Heraclitus, yeah. Around 550 BCE, he gives us that powerful idea of flux.
Everything flows, constant change.
You can't step in the same river twice, that whole thing. But also the unity of opposites.
How things depend on their contrast, like hot and cold.
Exactly. Good needs bad, light needs dark. These opposing forces drive the change.
Okay, so constant change. But then Parmenides goes the other way. Completely.
Yeah, dramatically different direction. Active around 515 BCE. Some call him the founder of metaphysics.
Because he said...
He argued that anything that truly is just one single unchanging thing. And all the change, movement, diversity we see...
It's all an illusion.
Basically, yeah, an illusion. Think about that.
Yeah.
It forces you to question reality beyond just what your senses tell you.
Mind. Blown. Okay. Anaxagoras. Socrates knew him.
His theory was everything is in everything.
Memeing.
Like all things are just mixtures of basic ingredients but organized differently. And the organizer, he called it mind or nous.
Got it. And Empedocles, around 493 BCE.
Empedocles is this fascinating mix, part myth, part natural philosophy.
The four elements guy.
That's him. Earth, air, fire, water. And he added two forces, love and strife.
To bring things together and pull them apart.
Yeah, constantly creating and destroying things by mixing and separating those elements.
Okay, and wrapping up the Pre-Socratics, Zeno of Elea.
Zeno, yeah, around 490 BCE.
Yeah.
He was with Parmenides in the Eleatic school.
Denying change, denying motion.
Right. Famous for his paradoxes.
Achilles and the tortoise, things like that.
Exactly. Those super clever thought experiments that seem to prove motion is impossible.
But they weren't just brain teasers.
No, they forced people to really grapple with what reality is. Pushing thought, like the guide says, beyond what merely appears. Really, the start of metaphysics proper.
Okay, so that sets the stage. Now, classical period. the sophists first.
The sophists, yeah. Around 490 to 420 BCE, these guys were basically professional teachers.
Teaching how to win arguments, rhetoric.
Persuasion, rhetoric, speech, logic, yes. But, they sometimes get a bad rap. It wasn't just about winning.
No.
They were also focused on using language precisely, on analysis, developing skills.
And Protagoras was a big name.
Leading sophist. Famous for relativism.
Man is the measure of all things, that idea.
That's the one. Truth, morality, it's relative to the person or the culture. No absolute right or wrong.
But he still taught virtue. Seems contradictory.
It does. And that tension, teaching virtue while saying it's all relative, that's exactly what Socrates hammered him on later.
Right. Brings us to the big names. But first, the guide mentions influential women.
Crucial to remember them, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we only have fragments. Aspasia of Miletus, for instance, around 470 BCE.
Her own writings are debated, though.
They are. But her influence on political and ethical debates seems clear. The kind of stuff Socrates and Plato picked up on. More practical ethics, politics, maybe less metaphysics.
And Diotima of Mantinea, Socrates' teacher on love.
So the story goes, yes, flourished around 440 BCE. Her speech in Plato's Symposium is incredible.
Guiding people towards like a higher spiritual love.
Exactly, contemplating the divine. And her ideas are really significant for contemporary feminism, too.
Okay. And then Socrates.
Socrates, around 470 to 399 BCE. Hugely controversial then. Maybe the most influential philosopher ever.
But he never wrote anything down himself.
Not a word. Everything we know comes through others, mostly his student, Plato.
And Plato's dialogues show him focused on what? Different from the Pre-Socratics.
Very different. Deeply into political, ethical, public questions, not speculating about the cosmos so much.
And critical of Athenian democracy.
Highly critical. Especially how they understood or didn't understand how to live virtuously, how to govern well.
And his method.
The questioning.
The dialectic, or elenchus. Revolutionary.
Not giving answers, but asking questions.
Right. A series of sharp questions to show you the contradictions in your own beliefs, to make you realize you don't know what you thought you knew.
Leading to humility or confusion.
Both, probably. The guide highlights the trial and death of Socrates' dialogues as key.
Right, let's touch on those. Euthyphro first, about piety.
Yeah, trying to define piety. But in doing that, he raises bigger questions about justice itself. Maybe justice is broader. And it hints at Plato's forms.
Yeah, the idea of perfect models. And it distinguishes between a thing's core nature and its properties. But the main takeaway, Socrates' questions leave Euthyphro totally baffled.
Classic Socrates. Then the apology. His defense at his trial.
His defense of the philosophical life itself. Against charges of impiety, corrupting the youth.
But it's really about what's important in life.
Exactly. What's truly worth caring about? What life is worth living? Plus, a critique of Athens' political decline. He calls for devotion to virtue, justice.
And Crito, refusing to escape prison.
Yeah, his friend Crito arranges an escape, but Socrates refuses, on principle.
Arguing you have to obey the laws even if they're unjust to you.
A powerful argument for the rule of law. And the guide notes the Phaedo's ending, often put with these, presents philosophy as a kind of cure for life's troubles.
Interesting. Okay. Contemporary with Socrates. Democritus.
Democritus, yes.
Yeah.
Around 460 BCE, he and his teacher Leucippus came up with atomism.
As a response to Parmenides saying nothing changes.
Sort of, yeah. They said reality is made of infinite, tiny, uncuttable, unchanging particles, atoms moving in empty space.
Atoms in the void. A precursor to modern science, in a way.
A really significant one.
And that brings us to Plato, 429 BCE. Student of Socrates, massively influential.
Incredibly prolific writer, founded the academy.
Where we get the word academic.
Exactly. His legacy is huge and tied so closely to his theory of forms.
Right. The idea that the world we see isn't the real deal.
It's just imperfect reflections. The real things are perfect, invisible, unchanging forms, like the form of justice, beauty, goodness.
And understanding these forms is the key to a good life.
Through intellectual contemplation, yes.
Mm.
The many beautiful things we see are just flawed copies of the perfect form of beauty itself.
And his most famous work, The Republic, explores justice, the best government.
Yes, and inside it, there's this chillingly realistic description of how a tyrant can emerge from a democracy in decline.
Someone who uses division, manipulation.
Create conflict to gain control. Acts without principle. Uses a kind of public performance. Sound familiar?
Maybe. And the allegory of the cave is in The Republic, too.
Yes. That powerful image of prisoners mistaking shadows for reality.
It's about education, enlightenment.
And the duty of the enlightened person to go back and help others see the truth. It also develops the idea of the form of the good as the ultimate reality the principal rulers should grasp.
We should also mention Sosipatra of Ephesus,
Right.
around 400 BCE.
Good point. A highly respected Neoplatonist scholar, known for her intuition, she helped spread Platonism around the Mediterranean, shows how these ideas traveled.
Okay, after Plato, his star student Aristotle.
Aristotle, 384 BCE. Maybe less famous during his life than Socrates, but his influence later was immense.
Founded his own school, the Lyceum.
Right? And his approach was so systematic. Organized topical investigations into pretty much everything. Logic, biology, ethics, politics.
Shaped universities for centuries, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Right.
His Nicomachean Ethics, for example. It's all about living virtuously.
Analyzing or act, virtue or excellence.
Yes, and looking at habits, choices, aiming for the good. He also talks about acretia.
Weakness of will. Knowing what's right but doing wrong anyway.
That puzzle, yeah. Why do we do that? Aristotle tries to figure it out.
Okay, moving past Aristotle. The Hellenistic period. Pyrrho, founder of skepticism.
Pyrrho, around 360 BCE. Skepticism. His idea was basically suspend judgment.
Why?
Because for almost any claim, you can find an equally strong argument against it. So the wise thing is to accept uncertainty, aim for ataraxia.
Tranquility, peace of mind.
Indifference, equanimity. Don't get tied up in dogmatic beliefs. Recognize opposites. Don't stress about which is more real. Withdraw from relying only on senses or thought.
Interesting. And then Epicurus, similar goal of tranquility.
Similar goal, different path. Epicurus, 341 BCE, taught pleasant moderation, freedom from fear.
In his school, the Garden, famously welcomed women, slaves.
Very radical for the time. He brought back Democritus's atomism to argue the universe is just material. No meddling gods, no scary afterlife. So no need to fear them. Knowledge is possible.
So ataraxia for him was freedom from fear. Fear of death, gods, punishment.
Precisely. Absence of disturbance. That was the goal.
Okay. Jumping to the Roman era, Cicero.
Cicero, 106 BCE, big Roman statesman, but also a scholar, engaged with Greek philosophy, offered his own ethical and political takes.
Even critiqued Roman religion, the gods being capricious.
Yeah, brought a philosophical lens to it.
And Lucretius, 99 BCE, wrote on the nature of things.
Right, De Rerum Natura, a poem basically popularizing Epicurus for Roman intellectuals.
Same message. Understand the atomistic universe, lose the fear of gods and death.
Exactly, and his work was hugely influential later on, especially in the Renaissance.
Okay, now we're crossing into the Common Era, Ptolemy.
Ptolemy around 100 CE, the Earth-centered cosmology guy.
Geocentrism, built on Aristotle.
Systematized and advanced Aristotle's work, yeah? And that view dominated for, what, over 1,000 years?
Incredible. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor.
Emperor and writer, 121 CE. His meditations are basically Stoic philosophy in practice. Virtue, reason, acceptance.
Then Origen, early Christian philosopher.
Yeah, born around 185 CE in Egypt. Really interesting figure, heavily influenced by Platonism.
Didn't take scripture literally.
Argued for allegorical interpretation.
Yeah.
Made philosophical arguments for God being immaterial. Saw sin as almost a sickness, curable by education, purification.
Sextus Empiricus, around 200 CE.
Key figure for transmitting ancient skepticism.
Yeah.
Kept those ideas, including atomist influences, alive for later generations.
Plotinus, around 205 CE, Neoplatonism.
Lightness, yeah.
Yeah.
Introduced this concept of the one.
Like the ultimate source, beyond everything.
Transcends everything, yeah. Everything else emanates from it. And he saw beauty in nature as proof of this unifying intentional force behind it all. Matter itself is the cause of all things.
And his student, Porphyry, 233 CE.
Porphyry wrote the Isagoge.
An introduction to Aristotle's categories.
Exactly. Laid out things like genus, species, difference of the predicables. Hugely important for medieval logic.
But he kind of dodged the big question about universals, whether these categories are real.
Deliberately avoided it, yeah. Left that hornet's nest for others.
Which brings us right into medieval philosophy, starting with Augustine.
St. Augustine, 354 CE. Massive figure. Prolific writer. Engaged deeply with Neoplatonists early on.
Before converting to Christianity.
Right. Rejected pagan myths. Emphasized turning inward, contemplation, as the way to God's will.
Then Boethius, around 480 CE, translator.
Crucial translator. Brought Aristotle's logic into Latin. Wrote The Consolation of Philosophy while in prison, became a medieval bestseller.
Also translated Porphyry is isagoge.
Yes, and commented on it, cemented its importance, and the guide mentions that medieval writing style.
Presenting opposing views first.
Yeah, lay out the arguments against you, then knock them down. Important to know when reading them.
Okay. John Scotus Erigena, Irish scholar, 810 CE.
Erigena, ambitious synthesizer, tried to blend Neoplatonism and Augustine.
Explored positive and negative theology, describing God by what he is and isn't.
Right. Viewed evil as just an absence of good, not a thing itself. Advocated using reason to interpret the Bible. Controversial ideas, too, like God kind of starting in things.
It made that distinction between knowing that something is and knowing what it is.
Yes, a key distinction that pops up again later.
Moving to the Islamic Golden Age, Al-Farabi.
Al-Farabi, around 870 CE, Baghdad, Aleppo. Brilliant scholar of Plato and Aristotle.
Integrated Neoplatonism, God as like the one.
Yeah, and connected it with Aristotle's concept of nous, or mind-intellect.
And Avicenna, 980 CE, a polymath.
Incredibly precocious. Studied Al-Farabi, Aristotle, especially the metaphysics.
Famous for the essence-existence distinction.
Crucial distinction, yeah. What is X versus does X exist? Hugely influential later on, especially on Aquinas regarding being as such.
St. Anselm, 1033 CE, the ontological argument.
Anselm, yes. Tried to give rational reasons for Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
And famous for that argument. God is the greatest conceivable thought.
Therefore, God must exist because existence is part of being the greatest.
That's the core idea. Influenced people like Kant centuries later, even if just as something to argue against.
Peter Abelard, 1079 CE, new ideas on terminology.
Abelard, yeah. Brilliant logician. Shook things up, challenged traditional interpretations of Aristotle, Boethius, plus new translations were arriving.
From Arabic, Greek, sparking new thought.
Exactly. Launching a new era.
Peter Lombard, around 1095, known for his sentences.
Lombard, yes. His Sentences was basically the theology textbook for centuries, a compilation of opinions on key topics, also known for mystical theology.
Hildegard of Bingen, 1098 CE, extraordinary figure.
Truly, scholar, theologian, composer, visionary, naturalist, even invented a language. Benedictine abbess, doctor of the church, wrote on everything.
Then Thomas Aquinas, 1225 CE, a giant.
Aquinas, huge figure, synthesized Aristotelian philosophy with Christian doctrine like no one before.
His commentaries on Aristotle were key, influenced by Avicenna.
Deeply influenced by Avicenna's work on being and essence, and his own massive works, the Summa Theologiae, Summa Contra Gentiles. Foundational.
John Duns Scotus, around 1266, nuanced thinker.
Duns Scotus, yeah. Weighed in on universals. Came up with his own theory of individuation, what makes this thing, this specific thing.
Called it haecidi, thisness.
Exactly. A unique, individualizing quality.
Very subtle.
William of Ockham, around 1285. Nominalism.
Occam, rigorous argument for nominalism. Reality is only in particular things. No universal forms floating around.
Opposed realism. And famous for Occam's razor.
Don't multiply entities beyond necessity. Basically, the simpler explanation is usually better. Still a core principle.
Copernicus, Copernicus. 1473, shifting the whole cosmos.
Copernicus, heliocentric model, sun at the center. De revolutionibus orbium coelestium, based on math, observation.
Huge break from Ptolemy myth, astrology.
Absolutely revolutionary. Reshaped intellectual goals towards natural science, universal principles.
Francisco Suarez, late scholasticism, 1548.
Suarez, yeah. Key figure then. Metaphysician, commentator, legal philosopher. Influenced by Aquinas, but original.
His metaphysical disputations were important. Very systematic metaphysics. Tried to find a third way between Scotus's realism and Occam's nominalism. Influenced early modern thinkers.
And this whole period, Abelard to Suarez, that's scholasticism.
Pretty much. Philosophers, often in religious schools, using rigorous Aristotelian methods, focused on metaphysics, being, essence, God, the world, their relationship.
Okay, into early modern philosophy. Roughly 1550-1750, a time of huge change.
Big shifts. Science, politics, religion.
Sir Francis Bacon, 1561, advocated for science.
Bacon, yes. Prolific. Pushed for methodical science for human benefit. Experimentation, technology, extracting nature's secrets.
More mechanical view of the world. Cosmos as a machine.
Leaned that way, yeah. Mechanical materialism. Predictable parts needing outside power. Contrasted with vitalists like Cavendish.
And his political stuff, the Leviathan, self-preservation state of nature.
Right, arguing we need a strong sovereign for peace, otherwise it's chaos. A bit skeptical, pragmatic, materialistic, even wary of the new science being just talk.
René Descartes, 1596. Another giant.
Descartes, brilliant across the board, optics, math, body, mind, theology, analytic geometry.
investigated the mind-body connection, dualism.
Big time. Used terms like substance and accident for physical and mental stuff. His dualism had huge theological implications.
And his meditations on first philosophy, the method of doubt.
Famously starts by doubting everything senses, reality, identity, searching for one certain truth.
Which leads to, I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum.
Exactly. If I'm doubting or thinking at all, I must exist. Observing your own thoughts is proof.
And the meditations go on, proofs for God.
Third meditation has a famous proof based on the origin of the idea of God. Fourth looks at freedom and human error. Fifth argues for mathematical certainty, another angle on God.
And he ends advocating for confidence in reason after scrutiny.
Yeah, if you've really examined your thoughts carefully. Philosophical significance of dreams, memories too, still resonates in pop culture, that quest for the real.
Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia, 1618, challenged Descartes.
Sharp correspondence with him, yes. A materialist perspective. How can an immaterial mind affect a physical body? Pushed him on emotions.
Leading to his passions of the soul.
Exactly. Her questions prompted that work.
Margaret Cavendish, 1623. Prolific writer, materialist.
Very prolific philosophy literature. Her 1666 theory, infinite universe, single substance matter in motion.
But vital materialism, not just dead mechanics.
Right. Matter is self-knowing, self-moving, change is constant. Denied atoms is the ultimate building block, dynamic.
And Countess Conway, 1631. Similar vitalist ideas.
Conway, yes. Principles of the most ancient and modern philosophy. Might have influenced Leibniz. Rejected inert matter, Cartesian dualism, Hobbes's materialism.
Argued for change by degree, not kind. A spectrum.
Yes, a vital continuity in all things.
Baruch Spinoza, 1632, Jewish philosopher in Amsterdam.
Spinoza, his Ethics, published after his death, is radical, posited God as nature.
Deus of Natura, single substance monism, like Cavendish, Conway.
Resonates with him, yeah. But his method was hyper-rational, like geometry, building from axioms, methodical.
John Locke, 1632, empiricism.
Locke, central figure for empiricism. Blank slate tabula rasa. No innate ideas. All knowledge from senses.
Huge influence on politics, education, property.
Profound. 2 treatises of government. Argued for religious tolerance, separation of church and state. Beliefs need scrutiny.
Part of the scientific revolution crowd. Boyle, Newton.
Worked with him, yeah. But also saw science had its limits.
Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, 1646. Hard to pin down.
Leibniz. Incredibly versatile, rationalist mostly, but tried to square it with empiricism in his metaphysics.
Co-discovered calculus. Statesman, librarian.
Yes, yes. Invented binary code. First major Western thinker to really engage with Chinese thought. Founded the Academy of Berlin. Just wow.
Mary Estelle, 1666, early feminist voice.
A cell, yes. A serious proposal to the ladies. Argued for women's education, drawing on Descartes, Locke.
Wrote on lots of things.
Wow.
Morality, politics, religion.
Productive scholar. Commentaries on the English Civil War, theological correspondence, the Christian religion.
Catherine Trotter Cockburn, 1679, defended Locke.
Cockburn. Scholar, playwright, philosopher. Defended Locke's essay, especially his view of morality based on experience. Engaged in debates, like the Masham-Leibniz correspondence.
George Berkeley, 1685, Irish idealist.
Berkeley. Critic of materialism. Idealist and materialist. To be is to be perceived. Esse est percipi.
Argued idealism is actually common sense, more than materialism.
That was his claim, yeah. Matter existing unseen, unheard. That's the weird abstraction, he thought. Key works. 3 dialogues, Principles of Human Knowledge, de motu.
David Hume, 1711, Scottish Enlightenment giant.
Hume, empiricism, skepticism, naturalism. Really pushed empiricism to its limit.
Focused on justifying our beliefs, scientific approach to the mind.
Yeah, inquiry concerning human understanding is key. Critiqued earlier empiricism, famously scrutinized causality.
Said we don't actually see cause and effect, just constant conjunction.
Exactly. It's custom, habit, association of ideas, not some necessary connection we perceive. Big critique of principles, harmony, impressions as proof of causality.
Look for a scientific account of thought. Moral theory, too.
Yes. And his dialogues concerning natural religion offered a sharp critique of religious arguments. Emphasized the mind's operations, resemblance, contiguity, cause-effect, not just receiving sense data.
Okay, deep breath. Modern philosophy now. Immanuel Kant.
Kant, 1724. Monumental. You almost can't overstate his influence. Critiqued pretty much everyone before him.
Originator of critical philosophy.
Right. Tried to figure out the conditions for knowledge. Argued basic structures like time and space aren't out there, but how our rational minds organize experience, they come from within.
Transcendental idealism.
That's the term. Try to overcome the big divides. Empiricism, rationalism, sense reason, nominalism, realism.
And his critique of judgment. Beautiful versus sublime.
Yeah, the sublime is interesting. It's that experience that overwhelms our understanding, challenges thought.
But ultimately expands our capacities, elevates our moral sense.
That was his argument. It pushes us beyond the everyday.
Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, 1770. Another giant.
Hegel, hugely influential lecturer, set the stage for Hegelianism in politics, ethics, theology, metaphysics. Massive output.
Focused on consciousness, phenomenology.
Combined investigation of consciousness with phenomenology, yeah. How ordinary consciousness develops towards rationality through stages. Dialectic. Very complex.
John Stuart Mill, 1806. Utilitarianism.
Mill, most famous for utilitarianism, greatest happiness for the greatest number.
Argued some pleasures are higher quality, intellectual, moral ones.
Yes, but they needed cultivation, not innate. Maximize human well-being. But that's just one part of his work. Logic, politics, liberty.
Karl Marx, 1818. Capitalism critique.
Marx, hugely influential theorist, philosopher, famous for analyzing capitalism, identifying alienation of labor.
Workers separated from the means of production, owners driven by profit.
That's the core. Journalist, historian, economist too. Rejected natural inequality, argued capitalism creates and requires it.
Franz Brentano, 1838. Inspired phenomenology.
Brentano, German scholar. Key idea. Intentionality.
All consciousness is consciousness of something.
Exactly. Our mental states always point towards an object. Precursor to hustle. His work on Aristotle's concepts of being also broke ground.
Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844. Existentialism, nihilism.
Nietzsche, often linked to those, but complex, more literary aphoristic style. Critiques of culture, religion, morality.
Diverse interpretations.
Very diverse. He saw Christian morality declining, worried about nihilism, but called for an inspired, life-affirming response, overcoming it. Existence is all there is.
Edmund Husserl, 1859, founder of phenomenology proper.
Husserl, yeah. Built on Brentano's intentionality. Argued for study the essential structures of consciousness.
His method involved bracketing, setting aside assumptions.
Like epiche, or transcendental reduction. Get back to pure phenomena in consciousness. Transcendental idealism. Intuition of appearance is paramount. Pre-philosophical judgments are the background for all knowledge. Classical phenomenology.
Alfred North Whitehead, 1861, process philosophy.
Whitehead co-wrote Principia Mathematica with Russell, then developed process philosophy.
A critique of traditional substance views. Emphasize relationships, becoming.
Exactly. Reality is constant unfolding. Events, relationships, not static things.
Martin Heidegger, 1889, brought phenomenology to prominence.
Heidegger, hugely influential, also controversial. Sometimes called existentialist, social theorist.
Critiqued modernity, technology, for losing focus on being.
Yes, his central concept, dissing.
Being there, being in the world. Rejecting mind-body dualism.
Right. Emphasized lived experience, our practical engagement with the world, as the starting point for investigating being itself.
Hans-Georg Gadamer, 1900, Heidegger student. Hermeneutics.
Gadamer focused on interpretation, understanding texts. Hermeneutics.
Argued meaning isn't fixed. It's created in the interaction between text and reader.
Yes. Reader situation, author situation, they merge in the act of understanding. No single objective meaning. Key idea for postmodernism. Shared meaning creation within historical context.
Simone de Beauvoir, 1908, existentialist feminist thinker.
De Beauvoir. The second sex is foundational.
Made that key distinction between biological sex and socially constructed gender.
Crucial distinction. Also wrote on existentialist ethics, the ethics of ambiguity. Focused on social existentialism. Defined existentialism broadly. Universe, not inherently intelligible. Radical contingency, freedom, choice.
Hannah Arendt, 1906, political theorist.
Arendt, another major 20th century thinker, primarily political theorist, though she studied philosophy with Heidegger, wrote on Augustine.
Focused on political action, acting together in public.
Yes, bringing the new into the world through collective action. Famously analyzed totalitarianism, the banality of evil, the absence of thought and horrific actions, controversial commentaries on violence, too.
Ernst Knox, environmentalist, activist, known for history of philosophy work, but mainly for originating deep ecology.
Long-range view, flat ontology, humans not automatically on top.
Right. Prioritizing relationships, long-term effects. Called his broader system ecosophy philosophical wisdom, considering the environment in everything. Jacques Derrida, 1930, deconstruction.
Derrida, French philosopher, writer, considered himself a historian, practitioner of deconstruction.
Not just destruction, but exposing hidden power dynamics in language. Binary pairs.
Exactly. Showing how language structures contain assumptions, often oppressive ones. Meaning is deferred, unstable, open-ended. Not simplistic accusation, but awareness. Literary application, too.
France Fanon, 1925. Psychology of colonialism.
Fanon, psychologist, psychiatrist, theorist from Martinique, lived under French colonialism.
Black skin, white masks, the wretched of the earth.
Hugely influential works. Analyzed the devastating psychological effects of colonialism, laid groundwork for philosophy of race, critical race theory, post-colonial studies.
Wow, that was a lot. We've covered some serious ground.
So yeah, as we wrap up this deep dive, you've really journeyed across this immense landscape, haven't you? From ancient Greeks trying to figure out the cosmos.
Right up to modern thinkers grappling with language, power, existence itself.
It's amazing how interconnected it all is. You really see thinkers talking to each other across centuries, building, reacting, refining.
Yeah, it's definitely not static. Hopefully this whole whirlwind tour gives you a kind of framework, a way to place some of these massive ideas.
And maybe something sparked your interest, a specific thinker of a particular period. We definitely encourage you to, dig deeper on your own if it did.
Absolutely. So, maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Consider this. We've traced how these philosophical ideas developed over time. How might understanding that history, that evolution of thought,
How might that help you engage more critically with today's world, with the challenges, the opportunities we face right now?
yeah. And what's one idea we unpacked today that really sort of stuck with you? Something that might be worth your own personal deep dive?